5 UFC prospects set to break through. In 2025, first of the prospects, Joshua Van, Flyweight. With the UFC's Flyweight division in desperate need of some freshening up, the newfound presence of Joshua Van, 12-2 MMA, 5-1 UFC, at the tail end of the rankings makes for interesting reading. The 22-year-old Myanmar-born prospect finished 2024 in impressive fashion, picking up his third victory of the year out of 4 fights, over Cody Durden at UFC 310, a result which helped him crack the top 15 at 125 lbs. Having only debuted inside the octagon in mid-2023, the Fearless has already gained a reputation as one of the most impressive strikers in the division. His technical prowess, his efficient boxing, and his methodical approach during fights have drawn comparisons with a young Peyton, and with dominant flyweight king Alexandre Pantoja having effectively cleaned out the division over the course of 2024, it's likely that 1 or 2 impressive wins over the right opponents could leapfrog Van into the upper echelons of the divisional rankings. Prospect number 2, Joel Alvarez, lightweight to welterweight. Another fighter who finished the year impressively, Joel Alvarez, 22-3 MMA, 7-2 UFC, decimated Drakkar Klose with a spectacular flying knee in the opening round of their clash at UFC Tampa earlier this month. El Fenomeno hinted at the post-fight press conference that he is almost certainly finished making the cut to 155 lbs and instead sees his future in the welterweight division. It could be my last lightweight fight, but if there's going to be a UFC Spain, that would be my last dance at 155s, he told reporters via an interpreter. Alvarez has finished all 7 of his UFC wins inside the distance, with only Demiris Magulov in 2019 and Arman Tsarukyan in 2022 managing to find a way to beat the Spaniard. At 6'3", and with a 77-inch reach, Alvarez certainly has the frame and the knockout power to compete at welterweight, and the thought of him facing names like Carlos Prates, Vicente Luque, or Michael Venom Page to compete for a place in the rankings at 170 lbs is certainly an enticing one. Peyton Talbott, Bantamweight. The name of Peyton Talbott, 9-0 MMA, 3-0 UFC, is the first one out of a lot of fans' mouths when the topic of hot prospects comes up. The 26-year-old has had a whirlwind introduction to life in the UFC ever since his octagon debut in November 2023. Having broken into the big leagues by way of a decision win on Dana White's Contender Series, the Las Vegas native has since racked up a hat trick of conclusive finishes over Nick Aguirre, Cameron Saman, and Giannis Gamori. Talbott possesses the type of power that helps him stand out in the lower weight classes among his fellow prospects. He has an uncanny ability to time his strikes perfectly, stopping his opponents in their tracks. This was very evident in his win over Cameron Saman, as he repeatedly walked the South African onto heavy punches before putting him away in the second round. A step up in competition is needed and will surely come in 2025. Talbott will be in action against Raoni Barcelos at UFC 311 on January 18th, and should he do to the Brazilian what he has managed to do to everyone else he has faced inside the octagon so far, the hype surrounding him will go into overdrive. Michael Morales, welterweight. Michael Morales, 17-0 MMA, 5-0 UFC, has looked nothing short of sensational since making his first walk to the octagon at UFC 270 almost 2 years ago. The 25-year-old Ecuadorian has found his way into the welterweight rankings thanks to wins over Trevin Giles, Adam Fugit, Max Griffin, Jake Matthews, and Neil Magny. The win over Magny has earned him a spot in the rankings, and with that comes stiffer competition going forward. In 3 recent cases, Ian Gary, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and Carlos Prates, the UFC has handed Neil Magny and Jeff Neal to their hot welterweight prospects in quick succession, so it's likely Morales may face hands of steel next time out. He's an easy pick on our list of UFC prospects for 2025. Oumar Sy, light heavyweight. France's Oumar Sy, 11-0 MMA, 2-0 UFC, has had a promising opening 6 months under the UFC banner. The KSW veteran made light work of Tuco Tocos in his octagon debut last summer, taking the Brit down with ease and applying his patented rear naked choke finish. The 29-year-old Frenchman banked 3 valuable rounds in a decision win over Dawoon Young in September, and in a division loaded with veterans on the downturn of their careers. Volkan Ozdemir, Anthony Smith, and Dominic Reyes populate the light heavyweight rankings. The right matchmaking and a slice of good fortune could see Sai emerge as a contender at 205 lbs sooner rather than later. Good enough for our list of top UFC prospects.